Even duct tape can't fix stupid, but it can muffle the sound.
Hello, everybody. This is lovely Kitty and Lord Crocosquirrel,
Hey guys, what's up?
and this is an episode of Busted. And we are going to talk about something that was cued in by Daring.
We will be leaving a link
Uh,
to Bering's video in the description so you guys can go get this PDF that we're actually looking at.
okay, so let's see the PDF.
Right there. Healing from Toxic Whiteness, an online training program for white people committed to racial justice. Yeah,
Oh,
right. If there was ever a time in recent history for white people to take action to end racism, this is it. Uh, our fun individual here has decided to use the election of Donald J. Trump to throw a scare into everybody because that's the way things work. Apparently, this is actually aimed at Americans.
hmm. I would like to know how exactly whiteness is toxic and what exactly the election of Donald Trump has to do with it, taking into consideration that Miss Mrs. Clinton was white too. But let's skip the election and let's take a look what everyday feminism has to tell to us.
Well, considering that everyday feminism is presenting this thing at the bargain basement price of $97, um, I
Ooh,
yeah, that's a little expensive for people to tell you that you're white and and thereby lame and automatically guilty. I don't get that. That seems like it's absolutely freaking ridiculous. You're automatically guilty, and you're the only ones capable of racism because why?
nobody else can be racist. Only white people are racist. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's bullshit, and we all know it. Um, just that thought would actually enter into somebody's mind kind of bugs me.
So the amount of melanin in your skin makes you racist.
Or actually, the lack of would be more
The lack
appropriate.
of,
Um,
not complete absence, because absence of melanin leads to albinism, but the low amount of melanin and your uh, heritage, your from where your parents and grandparents and their ancestors immigrated, in this case to America, makes you a racist. Wow.
well, they also make the claim that the U.S. has deeply normalized white supremacy because Trump. Right.
Oh, right.
All right. Don't run away from your racism, they say, or the racism in your community. This is the compassionate activism approach. I find that hilarious. Let's see.
Yeah.
We have a testimonial from a white lady. Okay. Let's see. I know I know I need to speak up against racism more, but when does speaking up cross the line into speaking over people of color? Like there's just two groups. Is that the in-group out-group thing, kind of tribalism? You know, these
Yeah.
guys are all one tribe because they're not white, and I'd be willing to bet that there are a great number of people that would really disagree with that. Because I know
Yeah.
the Japanese, for example, or the Vietnamese, or the Koreans, wouldn't hold themselves as indistinct from black people or from one another. Uh,
Yeah.
just to give you a kind of an idea of some of the types of people that live in the area in which I live. Um, uh, Here's the first bit I think that actually that actually is accurate on any level. It says while white people are not inherently or inevitably racist, comma, and then they go on to make a claim that is completely unfalsifiable. This claim is correct. White people are not inherently or inevitably racist. There is racism, I won't deny that. Not for a minute.
Nobody is born racist.
You know, hate is a thing that is trained in people, and that is a thing that is true of everybody, no matter how much melanin they have. Okay, you know, I get the impression that people think that all white people are like rich and powerful, and that's really not true. You
No,
know, the guy on the street, the guy that's living on the streets in the middle of New York City, uh, that hasn't had a shower in 6 months and can't remember what the hell a razor looks like, or a quarter for that matter, sleeping on a super grate, and because that's actually is the closest he's going to get to a warm spot, and in an alleyway that smells of urine and feces, probably at least some of it being his. How does that man, that white guy, living on a street, living in an alley, and having to fight for his cardboard box, how is that guy more privileged than the black CEO of a small company or even a large company? How does that work?
I have no idea. They work from a fallacious premise that there are no poor white people.
Well, the flip side of that is they not only used the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, but a considerable amount of hyperbole when they made the scare claim about white supremacy being completely ingrained in white people because white people came out and voted for Trump. Black people voted for Trump too. So did some Latinos. But what? Where is this? Where is that come from? I don't get it.
Yeah,
Okay. Any ideas?
yeah. The thing here, they say, how can I make sure I don't accidentally say or something, think and act in racist ways that personally benefit them at the expense of communities of color. Uh, if you look, I, this is ridiculous. Believe that or believe they since they don't personally believe don't the personally benefit on intentionally engage in racism, they have no personal responsibility to do anything to end it. Seriously.
Yeah, they're serious. They are serious as heart attacks. Um, but their next bolded section here actually makes it worse. Uh, the question needs to shift from "Am I racist?" To which the answer is inevitably supposed to be yes.
Yeah.
Um,
So how will I work towards undoing the racism I was raised with and have internalized? Of
you have
course,
to assume,
being the website Everyday Feminism, of course, internalized is a thing because they speak of internalized misogyny.
yeah, because
Yeah,
critical race theory says it must be. There is no other option. This is a thing
yes,
that is because we damn well said so. And
yeah.
that's, I don't know if they've like interviewed every human being on the face of the planet to come up with this conclusion, but there's there's no way to accomplish. There's no way to make
And
that completely clear.
now, and you said one thing now, planet. If you think of the planet, I would dare say that two-thirds of the planet are not white.
Yeah, actually, we got what more than a sixth, but somewhat less than a third of the population of the Earth is currently Chinese. They live in China.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you take China, Middle East, and Africa, uh, plus all the immigrants from these countries all over the world, well, I don't think the majority of the planet is white.
no, nowhere near it. In fact, I think across all countries, each of which has its own distinctive and separate culture, white people might come out to 25 or 30, up to a third, anywhere between a quarter and a third of the actual population. I'd have to go
So,
digging to the Google. I'd have to go dig to the Google to really get that information, but still.
okay. So let's go to what you will gain.
Okay. Identify the pain that's behind your resistance and struggle to take action for racial justice. Is that even a thing? I mean,
Um,
you still haven't qualified your assumption that every white person is racist.
yeah.
Okay, so kind of we're kind of in a sideways direction. This thing's already well gone. Here's their thing here. 10
Then
video
that gives
modules.
the
What? Go ahead.
get back all the time and energy and normally spent on feeling confused, anxious, and angry with yourself and others about around racism, and direct them towards taking action instead. Wow, this is one hell of a loaded statement.
Yeah, no kidding. Again, you
So
have to.
how the
The assumption here is that you have guilt, that you must, and that you have to make up for that guilt.
you
You see, the
suffer
thing
from
is, not.
yeah, you have PTSD from that. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And here's the thing: not every white person on the North American continent goes has his or her roots going back to before the Civil War. Okay. And I know my grandmother came over in the 1940s from England, where slavery had been abolished for what 600 or 700 years.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of white people came to North America as indentured servants. They had a contract that they had to sign. There's a lot of just there's a lot of bollocks going on right here. Okay, those people were freaking slaves too. But the difference was is that it had a definite end time. Okay, So here's how the online program works: 10 video modules, some supporting material, a private Flakebook group, and lifetime access to the modules if you want to go on. It starts on Tuesday, the 10th of January, so I'm hoping there's not going to be too many people that have got to it yet. There's a list of the modules. Again, you will be able to get this from, you'll be able to get the PDF itself or go hunt down the web page from Bering's video, which again we will link in the bottom. Okay,
Okay.
costs and logistics. Let's have a look at the cost. $97 USD, or you can pay in 3 monthly payments of $33. How does that math work? Oh right, you're gonna pay $2 more if you have to go at this monthly. And the program comes with a 15-day money-back guarantee, which I assume will only actually work if you're doing the pay it all up front. And again, this is the things that they repeat. They do admit that they're a stock just setup, which is not a good not a good thing. Let's
Mhm.
see, payment options and scholarships. You can do installments. Get a scholarship if you're returning from a different thing, from a different class, quote unquote, that they're doing. You get 25% off. Woohoo! And you can give it as presents. Who would do
Oh,
that?
yay!
Who would give somebody like this something as a present? I want to know.
And really, they will give you a certificate. So there is a protest by the Black Lives Matter, and the person who healed from their toxic whiteness decides to join and shows them the certificate. Wow, it
And
really worked.
that's not going to work. That's not going to work for a minute. I know some people from Black Lives Matter that would just hammer you for being white, and if you show them the certificate, they're just going to hammer you harder. Okay. Frequently asked questions. This is only for white people. The program is open to people of color, but the focus will be on white people's racial experience of white supremacy. Our other compassionate activism program, Healing from Marginalization, is likely a better fit for people of color. Oh, I bet that's actually going to work really there. Uh,
Oh, yeah, again, the fallacy that there are only marginalized black people or
well,
people of color or any other color, but white people, there are no poor marginalized white people.
of course. Here's the second question. This is actually funny. Are you saying that white people are inherently toxic? What do you mean by toxic whiteness? And immediately they go for toxic masculinity.
Oh, yes, of course. All men are born rapists.
And all white people are born racists. Rapist,
Yeah.
racist. I can see where people would get that kind of confused. Um,
So, I feel sorry for your kids.
yeah,
You have two toxic rapists,
yeah,
white
guys,
rapists.
ladies and germs that are running that program, please do not breed. Please don't breed.
Stop breeding. Yeah.
Just do the entire gene pool a favor.
The,
Don't breed.
yeah. Do not procreate, please, guys. Find out who are these white rapists.
Or what? I think we
No
may have.
opinion.
Okay. How about you run that by me again? Because we actually lost your mic there for a minute.
Oh, I gave my personal advice to the guys to not date the women who run this program.
Yeah. Okay, why is this anti-racism program centered on white people and their feelings? It's not appropriate for white people to center their emotional struggles with racism in cross-racial spaces with people of color presence. But people of color are actually welcome in the program. Did I miss a memo someplace? We're supposed to be talking. White people are supposed to be talking to each other about how they're white and they're lame and they're therefore just assholes by default. So I just, I don't get that. I mean, you're going to this is actually just a call to segregation, really.
And the last sentence here, having a separate anti-racist healing space for white people, led by a person of color who can hold them accountable, is important foundation for white people doing anti-racism work.
Okay, first off, white people can't work it out for if white people are so inherently idiotic that they can't figure this shit out for themselves, or at least in a space where you can like talk. You've already admitted that you're a racist, so why don't we talk about how the rest of that actually works? Um,
So I am to be held accountable for the lack of amount of melanin in on my skin.
well, it seems to
Wow.
what they seem to be suggesting here is that people with less melanin in their system or with less melanin in their skin have less capacity for rational thought, like people that are
And also they put lots of emphasis on feelings.
okay. This is not a situation where logic can even be applied. None of this seems to be even remotely falsifiable. There's no theory here. It's just we said and you are and we're right. Fuck the rest of you. If you agree,
Yeah.
sign up for the class, pay the monies, give us give us more money so that we can spread a venomous diatribe about how white people are inherently evil, cruel, wicked, and wrong.
Uh, I would just like to go through the names of the modules. I don't want to go into the merit of the content. I would just like to go through the names of the modules.
Okay, we'll go through the name. We'll run by the names of the modules. Let's see. Be here, up here, up here. There we go. Module 1, a framework on how white supremacy emotionally harms white people.
If
Ooh.
it's white supremacy, how can it harm?
Well, we're benefiting. Apparently, we, the people of whiteness, are benefiting in some way. If we are, I don't know how, because I'm sure as hell not benefiting from shit. My ass is broke.
Yes, and then the last paragraph summons it all. This means racism requires white people to numb out their own hearts and disconnect them from their own cultural heritage and historical struggles. And most are only just beginning to realize them. It's all about the feels.
Okay, actually,
So, stick with this.
hold on. Let's go to the to
Hmm.
paragraph before that. During colonial America, white supremacy began to offer people of European descent a Faustian bargain. It means because we live on the North American continent, we're wrong. And that apparently the suggestion here is that only white people from North America are a problem, and that or that there are no white people anywhere else on the planet.
Yeah.
Both of these things are actually wrong, because technically the Arabs and the Hispanics are also Caucasian, just like the rest,
Yes.
just like all of us white fools. The
Yes.
difference is that
Uh,
there are different areas have different cultures. And I remember a guy recently of German descent, a friend of mine, who wound up committing suicide because somebody ripped him a new ass for cultural appropriation because he was wearing fucking lederhosen.
what cultural appropriation?
He culturally appropriated German culture, despite the fact that he was a German native in the United States for school,
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, wearing lederhosen near Halloween, because it was actually bitch ass cold there. He was wearing his lederhosen, and a bunch of people descended on him for culturally appropriating, for cultural appropriation of Germans.
Oh, wow.
Okay, the dude's accent was still German. He didn't. His English wasn't brilliant. Okay, now
So,
module two.
module 2, the cyclical journey of healing from privilege.
That means you
If
could.
you have privilege, why do you need healing?
Okay, the other thing is that healing from privileges means that it's something that it's something you can fix. And according to everything else on the page, you can't, because it's inherent to
Yes.
it's inherent to you. It's inherent to the individual and the skin color as a whole.
Oh, God.
See, here's the thing.
My,
I want to know how they're using this particular definition of race anyway, because we are not substantially different from anybody else. We can completely interbreed. We're just one more phenotype on top of all the other phenotypes that exist. Period. I'm sorry
yeah.
I'm white. I'm sorry I'm male. Oh, that was the amazing atheist. Yeah. I mean, what the hell is with these people? Okay. Number three, the compassionate activism approach. Okay. First off, I get the idea of compassion, but compassion requires you to be in a position where you can do something about something else. Okay.
And actually, compassion also requires a recipient on the other hand.
Right. And activism is activism. Well, okay, I get that part, but how do these things connect? I have to be able to identify with and pity some other human being to be to be compassionate towards them, and really compassion is only for the benefit of the person being compassionate when you think about it, because if you're
Yeah.
compassionate towards somebody else, then they're going to like you more, which makes you feel better about yourself. That's what it's about.
Yes. Then this is not compassion. This is a self-servicing bullshit.
Okay. That third paragraph
So
here,
the module four, what?
that third paragraph there, compassionate activism holds the space for people to get in touch with their pain and in an affirming, humanizing way. How can you be humanized? How is it that you expect us to humanize when you're busy demonizing us?
Yes.
You guys made the demon. You created, in fact, the demon more or less from whole cloth. Just because slavery was a thing and racism was a thing in the United States specifically, it's always been that way, all over the planet. Okay, if I went to Japan, for example, um, hit up a girl off the street and said, "Hey, let's go get married," which I would not do, mind. Uh, we'd go to her father and ask for a blessing, and it would probably not be forthcoming. Does anybody know why?
Because they are extremely xenophobic.
Yep, because I'm white. Uh, my buddy Darius could do the same damn thing, and he would get the same fucking answer. But Kenji, on the other hand, who was born American but is of strict Japanese descent, he would be okay as long as he could speak proper Japanese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if he proved that he can give her the same standard of living that her family had, he would have some loops to jump, but he would be mostly okay.
he would. Yeah, he wouldn't jump on it because, of course, he is in fact American, but he's Japanese enough to be with to be with the guy's daughter.
Yeah,
Okay, that's just one example, and I hate throwing the Japanese on the under the bus. I love them death. I love them to death, but you know what? This shit is this. The whole idea, the entire idea here is just retarded.
demonizing white people. So, module force, the first practice of noticing toxicity and acknowledging multiple realities.
Except that who is defining what reality is?
Yes.
Who defines reality in this case? I mean, you're all, we've already established that your primary audience is American white folks for this.
So, due to their unconscious conditioning by white supremacy, many white people, even when they understand racism is wrong, don't realize how often they associate white culture and experiences with what's normal, quote unquote, and good, quote unquote.
See, here's the problem. Really, America's been one kind of big cultural melting pot for 400 or 500 years now. Uh, I mean,
Yeah,
what the crack? I mean, we've got 200 and some odd years worth of history as the United States, and a couple hundred years before that, as as British slash French slash Spanish slash whatever the hell else colonies. Um,
yeah,
you know what? I mean, why aren't we picking on the? Why are we not picking on the folks from south of the equator,
yeah,
or even south of Texas? Why are we picking on the folks from north of there?
yeah.
Seriously, I mean, come on. Let's at least be consistent here, folks.
Moving on.
Moving on, Module 5. Second practice of humble curiosity and gentle mindfulness. Okay, curiosity to my mind has never been humble.
Yeah,
Okay, gentle mindfulness? Meh.
yeah. This is that cosmic oneness.
Yeah, no kidding.
We
Okay,
are all one, blah, blah, blah.
well, as soon as they figure out that we're all one, it probably will go better. Um,
Yeah,
the third
they should
practice,
figure out.
let's see, Module 6. The third
The
practice
third,
of compassionate self accountability and radical education. Comments?
um, self accountability. Uh, Self accountability, yeah. I practice self accountability regarding the the acts that I practice, but I am in no shape or form accountable for being
Or
white.
form?
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's
much
not
less
actually your fault.
self
That's your parents'.
accountable.
Okay,
And
everybody has
module
to be self
7,
accountable for things like their finances, right?
yes,
Or they would be held accountable for, oh, say, murdering somebody.
yes, they are accountable for how they raise their children and this kind of things, but not for their skin color. So, module 7, the fourth praxis of compassionate truth telling and consciousness raising inquiry. Wow, we are going way deep into some.
Serious woo.
Wow.
Since
Yeah.
systemic harm happens in relationships, okay, first off, relationships are a two-party situation.
Yes.
Uh, you can't. There's not a system here to work with, and that
Yeah.
sort of shit happens regardless of. There is some level of harm that happens to everything in every relationship ever. It's a give and take situation. You give a little bit, you get some. You give a little bit more, you get some. You get one back. It's as long as it comes
And
out even
yeah,
more or less even, you're going good.
and this part of systemic harm, there is no systemic harm happening in relationships.
That's because,
Relationships are, they are give, they are take, and there's no systemic harm. It's like they are implying that there is some sort of epidemic. I don't know.
well, the idea here that there's even a system involved
Yeah,
is
yes,
just
exactly.
silly. You can have group
Yeah,
relation if you have there's two types of relationships in effect. There is interpersonal relationships, and then there are group relationships. Uh,
but
and
we
with
have a
groups,
society. We
right,
have a society.
which is a large scale group relationship.
Yes,
Um, but at the same time, you're still dealing. At the end of the day, you're still dealing with one person at a time,
yeah,
and you cannot create systematic harm in that situation. It just doesn't work.
no,
Okay,
and
if you piss somebody off, they'll tell you. If you take too much, then you'll get less later, and you have to sit down and figure out exactly how that works.
the level of rule, you see, in holding the space for ourselves to share our truth, we are more able to hold space for others as well, even when that truth is different from our own. In engaging with other white people in particular, you can work towards raising consciousness, interrogating biases, and confronting the impact of those biases on people of color. Again, they are stating without any evidence, without any scientific proof that all white people are racist,
And that all quote unquote people of color
are
are,
victims, are victims, the
well, it
victimhood.
also seems to suggest that all people of color are uniform in their opinions.
Yes, and
If you go back to some other, there was another news story for a convention back in November where they had actually started out with a plan to make it about black people, and the Asians and other folks said, "Well, wait a fucking minute. Uh, obviously they're not obviously they're not doing the thing here. They're not as united a front as people would make them seem, as some people
mm-hmm,
here would want to make them seem. On top of this, this is actually a feminist viewpoint, not necessarily a
mm-hmm,
and is biased in its nature in
no,
that general direction.
yes, it's again feminism and social justice warriors telling people how they have to behave.
Yep. The step-by-step guide to restoring internal justice with compassion. Internal justice. Internal
Intelligently.
justice. The
Now,
concept of justice.
not we don't only have social justice. Now we have to have internal justice. Now we have the thought police in action.
Yeah, and justice is not actually a function of the individual, it is the function of society. Okay.
Hmm.
And then finally, the step by step guide to restoring external justice with compassion.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So moving down here, we have the meet the trainers.
Yeah, Meet the Trainers. Online program created for white people. Blah 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 blah. Meet the Trainers. Here is our founder and trainer in chief. Okay, one Sandra Kim. I'm guessing
Sandra
she's
Kim.
Chinese. I'm guessing she's Chinese American.
Yes.
The look would suggest that she's
Oh,
Chinese.
compassionate activism builds off of the practices that Sandra has learned from Zen Buddhism and other Buddhism influenced professional and personal development programs that were instrumental to her becoming the person and leader she is today. Yeah, yeah. So I have no words. I'm speechless.
Okay. Then we have our white lady, Dara Silverman. Let's see, organizer, writer, and trainer who's been building movements for social justice for over 20 years. And then she,
Racial justice organizer. Yay!
showing up for racial justice, she built the biggest U.S. national network of white people without actually naming them, taking action for racial
Mhm.
justice. She doesn't say who that uh, what that network is, and raised over $500,000 for black-led organizing. Okay, why does it matter?
Uh,
Okay,
as the formal national coordinator of Showing Up for Racial Justice, Surge!
yep, surge. Yeah.
Yeah!
Okay.
Racial justice. We love this word justice. So it's so misplaced because it's justice at the cost of someone else.
Yep. And until everybody figures out that we're all freaking human,
Yes.
this sort of shit is going to continue. Okay.
And there is my favorite sentence that I keep saying, I keep repeating, and I will continue to repeat. Offense cannot be given, it can only be taken.
That would be correct. So, I think that's about it for us for this video. I'm gonna say at this point, you guys have a fun day, and yeah, we will put the link to Bearing's video at the fold, and I strongly recommend you go check it out. His video is actually quite a bit shorter than this one we
Way shorter because we babble.
because we tend to babble. Yes, we do. But this is
But
it's a thing, and the thing needs to be sorted out here.
yeah,
$97 to be told that you are white and racist and therefore lame is
it was something that we talked and decided that we should cover, that it was a thing that should be done.
if I wanted to be
So,
told that I am white and lame and thereby racist and utterly useless and that I need to go kill myself, I could do the same thing for free on YouTube. I even
yeah.
know where to go look. So hooray for them for thinking that they can actually pull this off. This is absolutely ridiculous.
And it's not logical because it doesn't follow any scientific evidence, it doesn't follow any study that is other than gender studies or others pseudoscience and bullshit that the feminists study and teach and try to impose on other people like good social justice warriors that they are.
Yep. All right. And as I said earlier, even duct tape can't fix stupid.
But
It's
it
good at
can
muffle.
muffle the sound.
Yes, it can. All right. Till next
I
time.
hope you enjoyed this.
Until next time, folks,
See ya.
stay safe and stay skeptical. Just because they make a
Yep,
claim and use it for the basis of everything else they've done doesn't mean their initial claim was correct. See you later.
right there. See ya.